What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Blood and Beer, the show where we talk blood sport and we drink beer. I'm your host, Matt. As always, we've got some MMA to talk. We've got some beer to drink. Today, we're sipping on Birdman from Brewdog. It's the Tropical Storm Imperial IPA, and we're breaking down UFC 324, Gaethje versus Pimblett for the interim lightweight title. First UFC card of 2026, first UFC card of the Paramount Plus era, and we're going to break down the entire card, prelims to main event. But first, we do have some news and notes to cover. Some things have been going on since I've last spoke with you. Some things like heat developing between Alex Pereira and John Jones. John Jones issued a response to Alex Pereira's call out saying, "You better be careful what you wish for," leading fans to speculate, how close are we really to seeing those two guys face at the White House? Dana White doesn't love the idea, but the fans love it. That's what they want to see. And if these two are chirping, if they can build it online, the UFC's got to capitalize on that. So that's going to be exciting if they can keep that going all the way through to June. And then Krzysztof Jotko, former UFC fighter, he won a £1 million tournament in Octagon. He finished things off in that tournament with a first round submission to win. He won about £300,000. It was $1 million payouts across the entire tournament. But shout out Krzysztof Jotko, keeping things moving on after his UFC departure. And then back to the UFC, rumors have been circulating George Masvidal and Conor McGregor may be fighting at the White House. There's rumors already out there that George Masvidal's got fight news coming soon. Masvidal can confirm this much, but he would neither confirm nor deny if McGregor was going to be the opponent. And sorry to Michael Chandler, but that would be the best thing for the UFC. You got two older guys that haven't fought in a while, both basically coming out of retirement, strikers, fan favorites. It's not going to hold up anything in the division or anyone's career waiting for that. And when you got two fan favorites like that, with fan-friendly styles, what more could you ask for? I mean, that's a super fight as big as what the UFC can offer. So I'm excited if that does come to fruition. And George Masvidal's coyness on giving that answer makes me believe even more that it's going to be happening, that he can't confirm nor deny if it's going to be Conor McGregor. All right. And then UFC has some fights announced for March. Big ones coming out. We have Israel Adesanya taking on Joe Pyfer. Main event March 28th in Seattle. Also on that card, we get Michael Chiesa in a homecoming fight. He's taking on Carlston Harris. Again, that's March 28th. Backing up a little, on March 14th, we get Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos. Josh Emmett's knockout puncher. Kevin Vallejos, he's coming off a spinning backfist knockout over Giga Chikadze. Guy's been rising through the ranks, and his only loss in all of MMA is to Jean Silva on Dana White's Contender Series in one of the best Contender Series fights that there's ever been. So Kevin Vallejos on his way up, and Josh Emmett is just the kind of test to give one of these young guys. He's not going to blow you out of the water with his skill, but he can put your lights out if he catches you. And then finally on UFC 326, the co-main event has been announced. It's going to be Caio Borralho versus Heine de Ritter at middleweight. And, two guys that lost their chance to be fighting for this middleweight belt. Caio's coming off his loss to Nasruddin Imavov. RDR's coming off his loss to Brendan Allen. Fight should be all right. And before we get into the UFC 324 breakdown, just a reminder, Zuffa Boxing kicks off on Paramount Plus this Friday night. Again, Paramount Plus, Zuffa Boxing's first official card of their season, or however they're going to call this. But we'll finally get to see what this is going to look like, what it's going to be, because this is the only boxing that has a broadcast home in the United States. So we got to take what they can give us. But is it going to just be like warehouse fights? It's taking place in the Apex. We don't know a lot of the fighters on it. It's not a bunch of big names. I don't know. But this show's not about breaking that down. We're just going over a bit of news and notes before we jump into the big swing of things. And last bit of news and notes, Muhammad Usman has been suspended for 30 months due to a suspicious amount of testosterone in his system, and then attempting to deceive drug testers with his test subject, whatever he turned in for the test. He tried to deceive him. Basically, the dude is pumping a ton of test or something that's going to boost your testosterone levels, and he knew he was going to get caught. Tried to play the system, got caught again, and now he's suspended for 30 months. And that can be detrimental when you're in your mid-30s in the UFC. 2 years off in your 20s, that's not the end of the world. You still train through it. You can work it out. But in your 30s, you age rapidly at that point, and you can't really train the whole time if you're not getting paid to fight. It's just tough going for Mo Usman. We're probably not gonna get Mo Usman versus Hamdi Abdel-Wahab too, but maybe someday in the GFL when that promotion finally launches off the ground. But yes, it's been a long time coming. UFC's been off since middle December. Last fight they had, Manel Kape versus Brandon Royval over on ESPN Plus. Now they're moving to Paramount Plus. Game changer. The PLEs are no longer pay-per-views. They're going to be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time instead of 10 p.m. Eastern Time, which is amazing. We won't be up past 2 o'clock waiting for these cards to end over here in the Midwest and other people on East Coast time zone. Things are going to be great. And the card they gave us, it's great. You can't complain about the fights that we're getting. You might complain about the validity of or the prestige of the interim lightweight title when you got the two guys ranked higher than both of these guys fighting for the BMF title in a month and a half. And then on top of that, you got the number one contender sitting on the sidelines saying he wants the fight and he's not getting it. You can complain about that. But if you just look at the fight itself, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, that fight's going to bang. It would have been a lot better of a card if we got Amanda Nunes versus Kayla Harrison on the card. That's no doubt. That would have been awesome. But Kayla Harrison had to get neck surgery. The fight fell out. It's okay. Of the two title fights that we're going to be getting, I thought that one might end up being the less aesthetically pleasing to watch. I thought it might be a runaway train one way or the other. Either Amanda keeps it on the feet and kind of tunes Kayla up for a couple rounds before she gets the finish, or Kayla gets the takedown and just kind of rides Amanda until she finds a submission or gets some ground and pound. But I wasn't expecting it to be a barn burner of a fight. So, but that's out. We might be seeing it on the UFC White House card. We'll have to see. But we're here today to break down the entirety of the card, starting with the prelims and going all the way down. So, let me get my ringtone off and we'll get cracking. What's the crack? First fight of the night is Ty Miller, undefeated prospect at 170, taking on Adam Fugit. Ty Miller, 6-0. He's a new era MMA guy that can do it all. He's got pretty good striking, pretty good wrestling, pretty good grappling. And the way he fights isn't one of those skill sets at once. It's mixing them all together. He really mixes the martial arts. He's a prospect at 25 years old. UFC is going to want to push this guy. He's American. They're trying to create U.S. stars. And he's taking on Adam Fugit, another American, but he's 37 years old. He's 2-3 in his last 5. The guy's a grinder. He's durable. He's going to be there the entire fight. He likes to make it dirty. He's stubborn. The guy's going to be around. He can pose a problem for prospects that don't have a ton of experience, that haven't been in a fight with a guy that's just trying to make it messy and trying to wear you out, and you don't even realize you're getting worn out by these guys that are durable, that are stubborn, that just make it grimy. You're not doing a whole lot and you get worn out, and then next thing you know, with 2.5 minutes left in the third, they're hitting you with jabs that feel like the biggest right hand in the world. So I think Adam Fugit's a live dog here. I assume he's the underdog because 6-0 versus 37-year-old on his way out of the UFC. But this is Ty Miller's UFC debut. Debuts are tough, and Adam Fugit, he's no joke. He's not somebody you're just going to knock out in the first round. I'm excited to see that fight, to see what we have with Ty Miller. We've only got to see him on the Contender Series thus far, so we don't know what we have, but Paramount's going to be pushing these U.S. stars. We've seen it with the UFC already. They're cutting people if your name ends with a V, and even if you're undefeated and you just have a top-heavy fight style, you go for a lot of top control. UFC's cutting those guys. We know Paramount's looking to build U.S. stars, so I'm excited to see what Ty Miller has to offer. Young, 170, that division's on fire. He's going to be the next generation coming through after the guys that we have now, if he can get the job done on Saturday versus Adam Fugit. And speaking of guys that like to grind, make it ugly, and just fight, Ricky Turcio's taking on Cameron Smotherman, and this is going to be a weird fight. Smotherman likes to keep it standing. He's got decent wrestling, but he likes to keep it standing. He's going to want to touch you up on the outside, throw some low kicks. Ricky Turcios, he's got real unorthodox style, real almost delayed striking. It's not rhythmic. It looks weird. It looks off. It looks fluky, but guys can't read it, and they get caught by him a lot, especially when you get tired, and he's good at making you tired. He clinches up. wears on you. He makes you wear his weight. And on the ground, he's no slouch. He's got submissions. While he's not a great wrestler, he's got submissions, especially off his back. I think Tercio's pace and durability could be a big problem for Smotherman here. I haven't looked at the odds on this fight. I assume Smotherman's probably the favorite because Tercio's had a rough go in the UFC. But Tercio's a warrior, man. The guy fights to the bitter end, and I think he could break Cameron Smotherman here. Smotherman doesn't like fights where where he has to wear his opponent, where he has to carry their weight. We saw in the Ricky Simone fight where Ricky Simone just kind of leaned on him for a lot of the fight, held him up against the cage, and Smotherman didn't have the strength to get him off of them. Now, Ricky Tercios isn't the strength that Ricky Simone is, but I still think Tercios has that dog in him enough to get it done. And I don't like to pick fights off the dog, and we're not picking fights, but my suggestion would be to go with Ricky Tercios on this, just because he's got more of the fighting spirit. I don't think there's a huge gap in the skill, while Tercios is a little unorthodox. I don't think we're seeing a huge gap in the skill here. And yeah, I'm excited for this fight. It's the second fight on the early prelims, and I think it's going to be a fun 3-round fight. I definitely think it's going the distance, though. Look for a decision for Ricky Tercios, probably 2 rounds to 1, or a split decision, maybe. And then we have Michael Johnson taking on Alexander the Great Ape Hernandez. This is speed versus power. 2 vets that are always winning till they're not, it seems. Michael Johnson's on a bit of a tear right now, as is Hernandez. Johnson's on a 3-fight win streak. Hernandez is on a 4-fight win streak. And I think in the speed, Johnson's going to have the advantage. In the stand-up, he's going to have the advantage. He has better boxing. Not going to see a lot of kicks from either of these guys. Maybe some calf kicks out of Hernandez, but neither of the guys really utilized it a lot in their previous fights. Johnson's a striker through and through. Came into the sport as a wrestler, but he's switched to a striker almost entirely. Hernandez can wrestle, but he prefers to strike. I think if Hernandez is going to get this fight done, he's going to have to take him down and hold him there, do some damage off the top, because on the feet, Johnson's just too dangerous. Both these guys have been a bit of glass cannons in the past. You know, they can knock you out or get knocked out. And for Hernandez to stand and bang with somebody that has the striking advantage with you, even if you're getting some strikes off, I just don't think that bodes well for you. So I do think that Hernandez is going to get it done, though. I think he's going to get the takedowns. I think he's going to get a finish in the third, or maybe a decision where he holds him down for 2.5 rounds. Johnson can be broken in fights. Sometimes you take him down and it just seems like he doesn't have anything left to give. So I'm going with Alexander the Great Hernandez, but trepidatiously. I'm not completely sold on him for that one. And then speaking of building American fighters, we got Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. Alex Perez, the first cat coming off of the Dana White Contender Series to get a title shot. He had a title shot against Davison Figueiredo back in 2020, I believe it was, and lost that by rear naked choke. But that was when Davison Figueiredo was choking everybody out and popping skulls off. He was the god of war. Scary dude at that time. Still is, just different weight class and different time. Not quite as dominant as he used to be. Getting sidetracked though. Alex Perez, he's got really good wrestling. He's got good boxing. Decent power, but he's not a knockout guy. One thing with him, though, he's not durable. I mean, the guy has had to pull out of so many fights. I believe more fights than he's had in the UFC. He's had to pull out of because of injury. And Charles Johnson is the exact opposite of that. This dude's a workhorse. He's fighting 3, 4, 5 times a year. He's got a gas tank that's just unbelievable. He's got good striking. He's rangy. His takedown defense is strong. He's got the jiu-jitsu. But if he is taken down, he has an ability to get back up. He took Muhammad Makayev to the distance. It was a good fight. Charles Johnson was in a lot of tough scrambles, and Makayev didn't know what to do with him. He just had to keep holding him down. But yeah, he had to keep holding him down. He didn't have any answers for him. Now, he ended up getting the win based off control time, but Charles Johnson gave him all he could handle with the takedown defense, with the scrambles, with the get-up ability. So in this fight, though, I like Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson, he's constantly overlooked by the UFC, it seems. This guy has knocked out Josh Van. He's knocked out Lonnie Kavanaugh. He's gone toe-to-toe with some of the best Russian wrestlers, and he's just not getting the push that he deserves. One of the most skilled, underrated guys in the UFC 125-pound division. But I like I like the durability of Johnson. That's kind of the theme of these prelims so far has been durability. Who's durable? Who's able to get it done? Who's able to wear their opponents out? And I think Johnson is going to be that guy. I think he's going to be faster than Perez. He's going to be fresher. Perez, we're probably going to see some ring rust out of him. And, his last time out against Tatsuro Taira, he went out there, fought good. Taira takes the back, blows out Perez's knee, and that's all she wrote. And again, that just goes to the durability of Alex Perez. So with all the injuries he's had in recent years, with the durability of Charles Johnson and how well-rounded he is, how unorthodox he is, but still technically sound, I like Charles Johnson in this fight. And that brings us to our next fight. Nikita Krylov taking on Modestas Bukauskas. And go ahead, pull out the pocketbooks now, put the house on Bukauskas. Nikita Krylov was really good for a while there. He was taking out everybody in the 205-pound division. But since he took about a year and a half off and has come back, he's been finished twice in the first round. Bad finishes, too, against, who was it, Bogdan Guskov and, can't remember the other guy now. But, Nikita Krylov, he's hit a rough patch. And Modestas Bukauskas, this dude's on a bit of a tear. Aside from Khalil Roundtree breaking his knee, he's on a 4-fight win streak, 3 finishes in a row. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's got heavy hands, he's got decent wrestling, but we're not going to see that used. And while Nikita Krylov has great jiu-jitsu, he can submit you off his back, kind of like how Paul Craig can. We're not going to see that here because guys have gotten hip to that style. They know that you don't go to the ground with someone like that. And especially when they're a little bit chinny, the way we've seen Krylov, you drop him, you don't follow him to the ground. Make him get back up and hit him in that jaw again and break it. And that's how Modestas Bukauskas is going to get this job done. He's just going to put some damage on Krylov. Krylov's body doesn't seem like it can take it anymore. And I like Bukauskas in this. I don't see a whole lot of paths to victory for Krylov unless Bukauskas has a bit of a brain fart and goes to the ground with him, falls into the triangle, and that'll be all she wrote because he's not getting out of that. I don't think he's a cerebral fighter the way that Krylov is, but when the chin goes, the chin goes. And, I think it's going to be a problem. And, yeah, like the Lithuanian. Make it 5 in a row. All right. Next up, we got the Russian Andrei Pulyev taking on Atiba Gauthier. The middleweight Francis Ngannou, Atiba Gauthier. The dude is jacked, huge as hell. He is 3-0 in the UFC, 3 finishes, 3 first-round knockouts. Pulyev's solid fighter, good boxing. He's solid, but he's not going to be able to deal with the physicality that Atiba Gauthier is going to be bringing to him. He's not going to be able to string together takedowns. That's not his game. He's a striker. So he's not going to be able to string together those takedowns. Gauthier is going to knock his head into the 5th row. And, yeah, I just think Atiba Gauthier, they're giving him fights that each one's a step up in difficulty, but not enough of a step up to where you're getting tripped up. I don't think this is the fight that we see Atiba Gauthier falter. Anybody that's going to stand and strike with him, even if you're a better striker, eventually you're going to get caught. And we saw it with Francis Ngannou when he was in the UFC. You get caught once, and that's all it takes. Take Jairzinho Rozenstruik, take Alistair Overeem, Stipe Miocic. The list goes on and on. Francis Ngannou's launched all their heads off the shoulders. So I'm going with Atiba Gauthier. Not a lot to break down there, but one thing I do want to see is where Atiba Gauthier goes in 2026. I'd like to see him fight 3 or 4 times because this guy's someone that needs a push. He's entertaining. He's got the look. He gets finishes. He's a fun fighter. If he can fight a couple times, get some recognition with the fans, get some exciting first-round knockouts like he's been doing, I think we could see him in the top 10 by the end of 2026. But we could also see a situation where he just does the thing that a lot of the guys do, where they fight twice a year, and that's what they do. They're happy to get their 2 paychecks a year, and that's all they really need. I don't understand it, but, is what it is. And now for the best prelim fight of the night. Now, it's not the, it's the featured prelim now, I believe, since Rose Namajunas and Natalia Silva got moved to the main card. We got Davison Figueiredo, former 125-pound champion, taking on Umar Nurmagomedov, former 135-pound title challenger. And this fight bangs. The God of War, dude can still do it. We saw in his fight with Petr Yan. Yeah, he can get taken down in he might have some trouble there, but his wrestling's solid. He can get takedowns as well and hold you down. Another thing that he's good at though is catching you when you try to rest, when you're trying to get that exhale. He just seems to crack you with the big right hand. I like the way old man Davison Figueiredo fights. And against Umar Nurmagomedov, I'm sure Umar is a huge favorite because he's well-rounded. He's a great karate-style fighter with the Dagestani wrestling thrown on top of it with some great Muay Thai in the clinch. Build a fighter. Umar Nurmagomedov is that fighter, but something's missing between the ears because against Merab, yes, he was hurt, so it might have been a different thing. But last fight, Mario Batista, he puts himself in these situations where he can get caught. He doesn't look for the finishes when he takes guys to the ground. He doesn't look for the submissions, for the ground and pound victories. And against a guy like Davison Figueiredo, you let him stick around there for a while, he might wobble you with the straight right. He might do something crazy, or he might get you tired, take your back, and choke you out because he can pop your head off and he's got a squeeze like no other. Now, I don't think that's going to be what happens. Umar is a switchblade. As I said, the dude can do it all. He's got the wrestling, the striking, the kickboxing. He's got some Muay Thai. He can do it all. So I think that we're going to see Umar frustrate Davison a little bit and get the win. But I do think Davison's a live dog. I think Davison's going to make it an entertaining fight because the guy's a fighter and that's just what he does. And he's a lot better wrestler than the traditional jiu-jitsu or than the traditional Brazilian fighter that you see come out of Brazil every day. You know, a lot of the times we see that their jiu-jitsu is great, but the wrestling lacks. Davison Figueiredo has some really good wrestling. He trained with Henry Cejudo for a few years in Albuquerque. So, yeah, I like this fight a lot. I'm picking winners in these fights, but I'm not too held to them. Like I said in the last episode, I'm not on to the betting thing this year. Not for me. If you want to do it, that's fine. Do you? It's just not for me this year. But yeah, I just love this fight. I think it's going to bang. I cannot wait to watch it. But that does carry us over to our main card. We've got Rose Namajunas taking on Natalia Silva. So we got former 115 champion Rose Namajunas taking on future title challenger if she can get past Rose and Natalia Silva. Natty Ice, this has got to be a number one contender fight for her. She's on a tear right now. And she's really the only person that you hear anybody calling for Valentina to defend against. Valentina beat Zhang Wei Li. She beat Macy Cheston. Nobody's going to be interested in the Macy Barber fight at this time. Rose Namajunas maybe a little bit, but really it's been Natty Ice. That's who they want to see her fight. And I can't hate it. Natty Ice is kind of like a new evolution of Rose Namajunas. Now, she might not have the jiu-jitsu that Rose had. She might not have the wrestling defense, but she has a lot better movement. She stays on the outside. She's harder to grab takedowns on. She's harder to get in on the takedowns because she's always circling around the outside of the cage. She's never moving backwards. She never lets you cut the cage off. I think that we're going to see a pretty boring fight in this one, unfortunately. I think it's going to be Rose not really pulling the trigger, and we're going to see a lot of low kicks by Natty Ice, some head kicks mixed in, maybe a jab here and there. Not a lot of action, though. I think it's going to be a very cerebral match, a high-level chess match, and I think the fans are going to be disappointed, but I think that Natty Ice is going to walk away with a decision and a fight that one of the few fights from this night that I don't think we're going to be talking about at all come Monday, come next Sunday, whenever we're talking about this again. Alrighty. And then for the people's main event, at least for one of the people's main event, we got Arnold Allen versus John Silva. And I tell you what, this card's wild for putting this on here. This is the people's main event, bar none. Allen's been off for a minute, and John Silva hasn't. John Silva's been cutting dudes up, causing violence in the UFC, getting knocked out, post-fight brawls, doing the whole thing, barking like a madman. John Silva has been carrying the load for the featherweight division as far as entertainment goes. The guy is just a scary striker. He sticks on the outside. He has this pop shot method where his hands aren't really up, but every strike he throws, it looks like it landed in the most perfect spot that it could have landed to cause the most amount of damage possible. And then he gives you a high five, smiles at you, and he's like, "Thank you for letting me hit you, my brother." It's wild stuff. And when you think he's just a stand-up fighter, goes out there and ninja chokes Bryce Mitchell. Now he's coming off a loss to Diego Lopez in a fight where he got effed up on the ground in the first round, got caught in mount, for the entire first round and just beat up there. But he gets out of it and starts to come back, almost knocking out Diego Lopez. Gets a little overzealous, walking forward. Diego Lopez spinning back fist or spinning back elbow right on the crown of Jean Silva's head, puts him out cold. So that's how that fight went down. But Jean Silva was really riding there. He was really rising to the moment. It's just he got overzealous, got ahead of himself, and was running downhill with his hands down, and Lopez took advantage. And now Lopez is fighting Volkanovski for the title. Now, the spinning back elbow, that doesn't tell us a whole lot because you can fix the absurd aggression levels that you're showing in fights. You can dial it back a little bit. But the script is out on Lopez or on Silva. What Arnold Allen's going to have to do here is take him down and get to top control because Silva doesn't have a get-up game. He might work on it a little bit, but I think Arnold Allen has good enough wrestling to get him down. I think he's got formidable striking to where his defense will be a bit of a problem for Jean Silva. He's got great defense, good head movement, always has the high guard, does Arnold Allen, and if he can get him down, you don't have to be a wizard on the ground, but if you just have a little bit of ground game, I think you're not going to have a problem holding Jean Silva down and getting a decision victory here. It's not going to be the decision the fans want to see, and you're going to see Jean Silva pissed as hell that he didn't get to unleash the full amount of violence and paint his masterpiece across the octagon with Arnold Allen's blood. But I think Arnold Allen's going to have a good game plan here, and he might not. We might see an awesome knockout by Jean Silva, but I think Arnold Allen's going to have a good game plan going into this one, and I think we're going to see him come away with a decision. Now, one fight. Just one fight that's guaranteed to not go to the cards. We got WCA, Waldo Cortez Acosta taking on Derek Lewis. Waldo Cortez Acosta, the most busy man in the UFC in 2025. 5 fights, he went 4-1. Only loss was to Sergey Pavlovich. At the end of the year, he was just taking short notice fights with 2-week turnaround time. Amazing stuff for a heavyweight to do. And then he's got the gimmick with the eye patch, calling out Tom Aspinall for the eye pokes and whatnot. Great stuff. On the other hand, you got Derek Lewis, who's just the knockout king in UFC history. Most knockouts ever in the UFC. Most knockouts, obviously, ever in heavyweight. The guy's a beast. In every fight, even if it looks like he's getting beat up, it just takes one shot. He's got actual dynamite in his hands. Waldo Cortez Acosta, he can knock you out, no doubt about it, but it's not the one-punch knockout power that Derek Lewis has. Waldo Cortez Acosta is going to accumulate damage. He's going to find you with a nice technical shot, a jab and a right just to follow, or a jab and a left just to follow. Derek Lewis might just say, F it, throw something off his shoulder like it's a fucking shotgun shell right at your jaw, and that's going to be all she wrote for you if it connects. No way to tell how this fight's going to go, but I do think that Derek Lewis somehow gets it done. I think Cortez Acosta is going to get tagged. I don't think he's going to go out there and try to wrestle Derek Lewis while he could. Derek, he's gotten in better shape with his older age, and his takedown defense seems to have improved a lot. In his past several fights, it seems like the thing everybody's saying is, yeah, if you take him down, then you're going to get it done. People aren't taking him down. It's not even getting to that point. With De Lima, with Taliesin Teixeira, these guys, he's just coming out fired out of a barrel and getting the finish early. So I think that we're going to see Derek Lewis with an early finish, or Waldo Cortez Acosta maybe get a finish in the second or third after frustrating Lewis for a minute and finding the right shot. And then elevated to the co-main event was Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. Supposed to be Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes here. Obviously, we spoke about this earlier with Kayla Harrison having to get the neck surgery, and she's going to be out for 6 months before she can even start training again. So up steps Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. The fight was already on the card, but this fight, it's going to bang. It's going to be a weird one too, though. 2 very different striking styles, with Song Yadong being a very tight, composed striker. He's going to throw a lot of hooks, a lot of short rights, trying to catch you on the inside, and their power shots, super quick. He can get tagged, though, and he doesn't have the best range. Sean O'Malley, the rangiest fighter at 135. He's got a crazy long jab, the way he moves in and out, the way he has the footwork to make you miss and set it up so his right hand's dropping right on the jaw. It's a work of art what Sean O'Malley does. And I think he's going to have the advantage here. Will he be able to sit on the outside against Song Yadong? it could be a challenge. But I think by the second or third round, we'll see Song start to get a little tired, a little worn out from chasing O'Malley, and that's when the knockout shot's going to become available. Now, Song Yadong could get the knockout blitzing O'Malley, throwing a 3, 4, 5 punch combination that just starts catching him and puts him out. But I just don't see a world where it's wise to pick the guy that has to blitz it and leave himself open for the win versus the guy that the whole advantage is hoping that you blitz in so he can catch you on the way in. He's waiting for you to do what you have to do to get offense off, and he can do so many other things on top of that. Now, one thing that'll be interesting to see is if Song Yadong can utilize calf kicks. We've seen Sean O'Malley be affected by leg kicks in the past. That could slow him down. In a 3-round fight, I don't know if it will. I don't know if he'll be able to stack up enough damage and keep up with the points. But it'll be interesting to see. And if Song Yadong does get the victory, does Sean O'Malley move up to 145? Does he retire? Where does he go from here if he gets the victory? Or if he doesn't get the victory? For Song Yadong, it puts him in title contention. People are already talking UFC might give Sean O'Malley a title shot if he wins this for the rematch with Petr Yan in their controversial fight that O'Malley won a couple years ago. That would be a great rematch for Yan's first title defense. I know Merab's there in the wings. Merab deserves it, no doubt, after a dominant title defense, a dominant title reign. But Sean O'Malley's a big name. If Song Yadong can take him out with emphatic fashion, with a knockout that sends the place ablaze at T-Mobile Center, then I think we could see a world where they might try to push Song Yadong to the title. Maybe he gets a matchup with Umar. Maybe he just gets the title shot on short notice if Merab's not available or if Umar's not available. But I think that puts Song Yadong in the top 3, no doubt, if he can get that win over Sean O'Malley. Yeah, I think that leg kicks are going to play a factor for Yadong, whether he throws them or not. We'll have to wait and see, but it's gonna be something. It's something to see. Ugh. All right. Main event time, guys. Main event time. It's Paddy the Baddy Pimblett taking on Justin the Highlight Gaethje. This fight bangs. Number 4 versus number 5. A little bit weird for the title fight to be number 4 versus number 5 when you have 2 versus 3 fighting for the bantamweight or for the BMF title in just a few months, and you've got number 1 sitting at the top saying he wanted this fight but was never offered it. UFC wasn't going to give it to him. So it's a little bit weird. It diminishes the prestige of the belt, especially if Ilya has to vacate it, and then you have the number 4 or number 5 guy that's a champion. And if Paddy wins, then the guy he beat was finished by the 2 guys that fought for the BMF title. If Justin wins, he lost to the 2 guys that fought for the BMF title. So either way you look at it, it kind of diminishes the luster that is the lightweight division when the BMF title is going to be holding more prestige and longer lineage, with Max having defenses. And if Charles beats him or if Max wins, Max will have another defense, or Charles will have taken the belt from the linear BMF champion. It'll be interesting to see how everything plays out. Now, this will all go to bed as soon as somebody fights Arman for the belt, or if Ilya comes back, which he says he plans to do sometime between April and June or July. So I'm thinking White House card. Maybe the divorce isn't holding him up too much. But we're here to break down this fight with Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. And the fight bangs. You've got the striker in Justin Gaethje, the brawler. He's a little bit more reserved now, but you still see it when he gets frustrated. He gets wild. The guy bangs. He's got a chin on him. While the chin's a little diminished now, he's still got a chin on him to go out there and bang. And he throws so much volume, just so much damage in every shot. The real key for him, just like with Song Yadong, is going to be the low kicks, because he has hard calf kicks that could stop a fight if he lands enough of them. And Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, the dude's huge for lightweight, but he keeps a really wide stance. He's going to be open to the leg kicks. Paddy's going to have the advantage in the grappling and the jiu-jitsu, no doubt. If he gets on top of Gaethje with how much bigger he is, how much better his wrestling appears to be, it's going to be a problem for Gaethje, and I think Paddy's going to find a victory there. But if Paddy goes out there and is expecting to just grapple with Gaethje, it's going to be a problem. He's going to have to strike a little bit. And if Paddy can't get that jab working, if he can't keep it at range, because he's definitely going to have the reach advantage here with Gaethje, it's going to be a long night. And all leading up to this build up, since they've announced the fight, I was like, ah, man, I think Paddy's going to win that. I think Paddy should win that. But now I'm thinking, the more I think about it, I think it's going to be Gaethje. I think even when Gaethje gets looping, his punches are still a lot tighter than Paddy's. And if Paddy's throwing wide looping shots, especially as he gets tired, we're going to see Gaethje landing some bombs down the middle. We're going to see Gaethje landing some big overhand rights, just barely turning it over, but just huge shots on Paddy. And I think we could see Paddy get gassed, shoot some desperation takedowns, and we're going to see Justin start really teeing off. I think Justin might get it done and hold the interim lightweight title again. But if Paddy gets it to the ground, it's a wrap, I think. We've seen Justin struggle against Khabib on the ground, and it's Khabib, so what are you going to do? But then with Charles Oliveira, he struggled with him on the ground. And granted, he was dazed. He was rocked before he went to the ground. And when you go to the ground with Charles Oliveira and it ends up in a jiu-jitsu setting, it's a nightmare. He was in a reverse head triangle, switched it to a guillotine, switched it to a rear naked. I mean, it was a wild washing machine that he was being put through against Charles Oliveira. And, that's tough. But Paddy Pimblett has elite jiu-jitsu. He's landed flying arm bars. He's got more submissions than knockouts. The guy hits hard. It's hard to say who's going to win. My heart's telling me that my brain's telling me Justin's going to win, and that feels weird because normally my brain never picks Justin in any of his fights just because of the way that he fights. But my heart's telling me it's going to be Paddy, because if Paddy wins, it sets up the Ilya fight. The beef between those two is real. The build to that fight's going to be electric. They hate each other. The press tour, the whole 9 yards. You're going to do it internationally. You're going to stop in Spain. You're going to stop in England. You're going to stop in Vegas. You're going to stop in New York. And you're going to answer questions from the fans. They're going to be talking shit, throwing water bottles at each other. It's going to be a big build. That's what my heart says. And then after that fight, Paddy wins. He gets Armin. Ilya wins. He gets Armin. It's a win-win. But that's just being an idealist. And that's what the UFC obviously wants too. But the UFC has no shortage of options for Paddy Pimblett, because if Pimblett loses this fight, the next fight's already built in with Dan Hooker. They're beefing. We went over it on the last show. Paddy said that Dan couldn't wrestle a rapist off his mom. Dan said you're a bad friend to your friend that killed himself, pretty much, to Paddy. So yeah. We'll have to see how it turns out. I don't know who's going to win. I can't wait for that fight. It's the striking versus the grappling. It's the speed versus the size in a lot of these fights, especially in the main event. It does suck to kind of end it by preambling that this belt means a whole lot of nothing. It's for the number 4, number 5 best fighter in the world is where that interim lightweight title will be. But yeah, that's all I've got for you for the fight breakdowns. One last thing for this card to talk about before I go. The Kayla Amanda fight, that has been called off. I've been hearing a lot of news reporters, a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, this fight's obviously getting moved to the White House. That's where it's going to be. She had legitimate neck surgery. Herniated disc is what I had heard. And the timetable before you can even start training again on that is 6 months. 6 months from the date that it was reported would be the White House card. And she's not going to be able to come back, do a camp, get back into training. I mean, I think we're looking at 9 months to a year if we ever see Kayla Harrison come back. And I don't like to be one of those guys that say, oh, this could be career ending for her. But the weight cut is tough for Kayla. She's not a spring chicken. She's been competing in MMA and judo and all these different sports for years. And it takes a toll on the body. The weight cut's already been taking a toll for her. This fight with Amanda was going to be huge. But if it gets delayed to 9 months to a year, it could be a problem. We might not ever see it happen just because I don't know how her body is going to hold up on that. So, yeah, that's what I've got for you for UFC 324 going down this Saturday night on Paramount Plus. Prelims probably start at 4 or 5 p.m., but the main card starts at 9 p.m. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you check out the new wrestling podcast here on the Blood and Beer Network, the Blood Sports Network. It's Between the Ropes, hosted by my friend Gibby. We're sponsored by Dubby. Clean energy that helps you focus, no jitteriness. It's got an anti-jittery formula. It works. It's a scoopable formula that they use, scoopable energy drink they use. It's great for gaming, great for doing schoolwork, great for locking in, great for whatever you're looking to do. It helps you lock in, helps you stay focused without that jittery energy that makes you feel weird, feel a little sick, feel a little queasy, feel like you're all over the place, like your ADHD's been amplified. This doesn't do it. It's W. So go to w.gg, use promo code BloodBeerBSN. That's BloodBeerBSN. No spaces. BSN's for Bloodsport Network, of course. That's all I got for you today. Thank you for tuning in. Check out Between the Ropes. Keep checking out Blood and Beer. Let me know what you think about these fights coming up on 324. I can't wait. It's been a long time coming, waiting for the UFC's return. But we're finally back, and we're going to have some stuff to watch again, stuff to talk about. It's not dead season anymore, and hopefully we get some more life into the UFC with the Paramount Plus era. That's all. Peace. Have a great night.